Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are not in the garage, we're back up in the attic, continuing the HVAC series that I started for DIY repairs you can make to your HVAC system that doesn't necessarily require a technician and could save you a bunch of money. Now, I've previously done 4 videos in this series, one of them replacing the outdoor contactor, one of them replacing the outdoor capacitor, and one replacing the outdoor fan motor. Then we moved inside, installing a float safety switch, and today we will be replacing the capacitor on the blower. Yes, that's right, there's a capacitor up here in your furnace blower as well, kind of like the one that's outdoors, but it's much smaller in size, and its job is just to get the fan running up in your furnace. Now, the reason I'm replacing this capacitor is because a technician over a year ago now did a really nice inspection on my overall system and said that this capacitor is running around 9 microfarads. The capacitor is rated for 10, so it's getting near end of life, and he recommended that it be replaced. So if you watch my video on the float switch, you know to get into my carrier unit, there's just this one screw over here. Unscrew it, and then the whole lid comes off, and all the electronics are back behind here. So the part that's visible now is all tied to the furnace. You've got the fan, the exhaust, gas, burner tubes, but the electronics are actually behind here. So for my unit, and everybody's could be different, there are 2 screws to remove. And before we go any further, the power, of course, needs to be turned off before you get into this. And it is not the same circuit breaker as for the outdoor unit. So you make sure you have the power turned off to the furnace. And another reason you might need to access this is to get to a fuse that is in the circuit board. So we'll pull the panel off. And so there are a couple of things back here. First, here is that capacitor that we're going to be replacing, 10 microfarads. And also there is a fuse. So if your blower fan is not working, but the outdoor compressor is working if you're trying to run the air conditioning, there could be a couple different things. So first of all, obviously it could be the motor for the fan, and that's a couple $100 repair. It could be this 3 amp fuse on my unit. This fuse may have blown, which you can easily replace just like an automotive fuse, but of course you want to figure out why it blew. Or it could be that the capacitor is bad, and just like the outdoor capacitor, you can look and see if it's bulging. That'll be an indicator, but these are pretty cheap, and so this or the fuse might be one of the 2 things you go after before you look into replacing the motor. Once you locate the capacitor, and again the power is off, first thing you want to do, at least on mine, is I'll remove the bracket that is holding it in place, and that is just 1 screw. Remove that, and of course it's always good to take a picture before you do this work, just so you can make sure you have a reference to put it all back together. But remove that screw, take the bracket off, and then you have access to that capacitor, and you'll probably be holding it in your hand. All right, so before we go any further, I just want to short out the terminals of the capacitor. Just make sure that it has not got any energy in it. It's just like the outdoor one, except it's even easier. So just a screwdriver or something, and touch leads for both sides. Make sure it's fully discharged. There we go. Now in mine, the little bracket that holds it on, the capacitor just slips into the bracket. So just pop that off, and now you have it in your hands, just like that. And it's an easy way to get your measurements off of the old capacitor, compare it to the new capacitor, all the numbers line up. I'll leave a link in the video description for this one that I'm using. So you might need a pair of needle nose pliers to pull those off, but the 2 leads do pull off of the tabs on the capacitor pretty easily. And then just put the old capacitor to the side, put the new one up there, and make sure I don't know that it matters, but I'm going to make sure I put the same wires in the same location on the capacitor, keep everything exactly the same. Then install the bracket back into the furnace, the same place, the same way that the old one came out. And that is it. I think it took me 10 minutes to do this, even with recording the video. It's a very simple, straightforward job. Almost as easy as replacing the fuse if you need to do that. All that's left now is to put all the coverings back in place, turn the power back on, turn the fan on with the thermostat, make sure the fan runs. That's all there is to it, checking it out, and you are complete. So hopefully this video has been helpful, useful. I don't know how this HVAC series is doing, but it has saved me now around $1,700 off of what the technician would have charged to do the same work. It's all very simple and straightforward, something you can easily do yourself. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments. Information on parts and everything else is in the video description, and a couple more videos I think on this series to come in the future. But for now, thanks for watching. You all take care and have a good one.